Hello everyone, I am Dead Knight and this is In It to Win It. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave respectful comments on my videos. Today we're going to talk about the United and Stormwind card set. We now have the full reveal and we're going to be going through Priest cards, what I think is the best card, the worst card, and the most interesting card. So Priest, they are pushing Shadow very hard in this set, which is good because I think pretty much everybody is tired of infinite resources and control Priest. So they're trying to get some new archetypes in there, focusing a lot on tempo and shadow damage and shadow spells. That said, what do I think the best card in this set is? I think that it is not a shadow spell or a shadow enabler. I think it is Shard of the Naaru. This guy is a 1 mana spell that's a holy spell. It's tradable, so you can pay 1 mana and send it back into your deck and draw a new card, and it silences all enemy minions. So, I mean, this card is extremely versatile, extremely flexible, and for 1 mana, now that Renew has been nerfed to cost 2 mana, this is probably the best card to pull from Wandmaker. And you think about what you had to do before to silence all enemy minions. You either had to play Showstopper, which is slow and uncontrollable and awkward, or you had to play Mass Dispel, which costs 4 mana and draws you a card. Now you can silence all minions for 1 mana, and if you don't have any need to silence minions, you can just throw that card back in your deck and draw a new card. So the versatility of this card is just out of control. Probably the best thing you can pull from Wandmaker. Smooths out just about everything. You got to think about Focused Will for 1 mana, silence a minion, and give it 3 health. Think about how many times that you have used that card on an enemy minion because you really needed the silence. And then now you say, well, I can just do that to all of my opponent's minions, and if they don't have one that I can do it for, I can throw it back and draw a card. So the flexibility, the versatility works in just about every deck. Even if you are running the full Shadow build, you are still just hoping you get this card from Wandmaker or some sort of other generator, so you have that ability to silence your opponent's board and get control of the game. Love this card, love that it's tradable, just an excellent card. As far as the worst card, it is another 1 mana spell and probably exists to nerf Wandmaker, is Call of the Grave. So for 1 mana shadow spell, this discovers Death Rattle minion, and if you have enough mana to play it, you get the Death Rattle minion's effect. So this seems really cool until you realize that you are not discovering one of your own Death Rattle minions. You're just discovering any Death Rattle minion. There are some pretty stinker Death Rattles out there. There's also some good Death Rattles that are slow. There's also the possibility that you play this on turn 5 and you're like, oh, I'm going to get a nice tempo 4 mana Death Rattle play, and then you get just like a bunch of really expensive Death Rattles that you don't get to use the effect. So if you get Death Rattles like the new Mailbox Dancer, where you're giving your opponent a coin, you get stuff like that. There's just a bunch of ways that this goes wrong, and the fact that it's only 1 mana is okay. It's typically not going to be all bad, so there's typically going to be some upside for 1 mana, but because it's not consistent, because you don't get to pick which Death Rattles by through your deck building, this card I think is pretty underpowered. So it may turn out that there are other worse cards in this set if the Shadow build and the Tempo Priest build just totally flop like they have in the past. Then some of these other cards are going to be really bad. But if the Shadow build does work, then all the Shadow cards are going to be really good, and you're probably going to want to run all of them, except this one, because this one just doesn't really hit the way the first impression does. Like you look at it and you're like, oh man, I get this cool Death Rattle effect, and I get the minion and play it right away and get the Death Rattle again. Awesome. And then you realize that it could just be a stinker. So don't like the card. But what about interesting? So speaking of Shadow, Darkbishop Benedictus is the most interesting card in Priest for me. At a 5/6 for 5, it's got a solid mid-range stat line, but at the start of the game, it changes your hero power into Shadow form. So if you are running a Shadow Priest build, which you'll get with this card if you have all shadow spells in your deck. You immediately get to change your hero power from useless to hyper aggressive, which is awesome. And then, the downside for this is you have to run all shadow spells, which is a pretty serious downside because there are some very great versatile holy spells that you might even want to run if you're aggressive. So Power Word Feast is out. What else? Power Word Fortitude is out. So some of these cards that Gift of Luminance is out. So some of these good tempo cards are out, which is really bad. But you get some aggressive shadow spells in there. You get good shadow type aggressive minions, and because you get that hero power at the start of the game, so it doesn't cost you any resources. This is a huge boost. So I like where they're going with that. I like that they're giving Priest the ability to jump right into shadow form at the beginning of the game and really just come out blasting. So it's interesting to see a shadow form will work. If it does, this will be a must-have in your deck. So what do you think about Priest? What's the best? What's the worst? What's the most interesting? Tell me if you think I got it totally wrong, totally right. What do you like my hot takes? Don't forget to subscribe, leave respectful comments below, and tune in next time.